For 2 decades, Beyoncé Giselle Knowles Carter and Sean Jayz Carter have stood on pop culture's tallest pedestal global icons who turned love into leverage and leverage into a multi-billion-dollar empire. But fairy tales only sparkle until the spotlight lingers too long. Whispers of separate wings, solo red carpet walks, and a growing chill behind the Kodak smiles are morphing into on-record testimony and sealed subpoenas. At the same time, Sean Diddy Combs, once their party host partner in diamond-encrusted crime, is staring at a federal trial for trafficking, coercion, and illegal surveillance. When a castle trembles, every stone feels the quake, and right now the tremor racing through hip-hop's first family is impossible to mute. Keep watching. Because what you're about to hear goes beyond clickbait chatter or tabloid fanfic. This is the timeline, the lawsuits, the back-channel deals. And the one question nobody at Parkwood Entertainment wants to answer: how do you divide a crown when the kingdom collapses?
So this just in, Diddy allegedly has evidence of Jay-Z unaliving his mistress, Kathy White. And the reason Diddy isn't in jail yet is because he's cooperating with authorities to take Jay down with him. Kathy White was Jay-Z's side piece. Kathy was an up-and-coming industry publicist, fitness, and beauty expert when she mysteriously died at 28. Jay-Z was seeing her on the down low and got her pregnant. So according to a journalist, Kathy was going to tell the tabloids everything for the right price, but Jay found out and got her murked. Diddy is allegedly set to release the details of how Jay-Z unalived his mistress. Jaguar Wright hints that both the Carters might be responsible, but one of them is more responsible than the other, and she wonders if it's possible Beyonce's temper is a little worse than most people think, and Jay had to clean it all up for her.
Insiders swear it started small and extra weak in Paris for Beyoncé after her Renaissance sessions, a string of late-night studio lock-ins for Jay on the opposite coast. The Carters' Bel Air fortress has 2 complete residences stitched together by a glass bridge. Lately, that bridge sees fewer footsteps. Staff speak of the West Wing routine. Bey's glam squad arrives at sunrise, rehearses choreography in the atrium, and leaves before dusk. On the east side, Rock Nation producers drift in past midnight. Guitars on backs, laptops glowing with demo stems. At first, the arrangement looks strategic. Beyoncé was chasing a sound free of Jay's fingerprint. Jay was grooming artists he couldn't nurture while playing Superdad. But patterns create rumors. When Bey accepted her 2025 Grammy with Daughter Blue Ivy at her hip and no husband in sight, tabloids clocked it as a solo win. Days later, Jay opened an art investment fund in Miami, again alone. Again, ring shimmering, but partner missing. Parallel calendars became parallel narratives. Corporate filings show that in late 2024, Beyoncé quietly moved 3 trademarks Ivy Park Beauty, Sealy, and 816K holdings from the couple's shared LLC to her own Parkwood IP vault. Lawyers call it ring fencing, isolating assets before big moves. Jay simultaneously offloaded a slice of his Marcy Venture Partners equity to a Delaware trust that lists only his name. On paper, they remain joint billionaires on spreadsheets. The separation is already inked. The emotional distance is harder to quantify, but sources circle 3 flashpoints lemonade never healed. Even after 444 in therapy shoutouts, insiders insist the cheating fissure never sealed. Public forgiveness sells tickets, private resentment lingers. Creative control. Beyoncé's last 2 projects landed through Columbia and her own imprint. Jay's Rock Nation handled 0 A&R friends say he hates being just the husband in her. Narrative. Security briefings. When federal agents raided Diddy's homes in March, Beyoncé's attorneys booked a risk assessment team for her personal archives, but Jay's reps supposedly declined joint coverage, preferring a Rock Nation audit. Trust, daunts, shared, now travels in separate SUVs. And while the marriage drifts, Jay's legal temperature is rising. The next room we step into is a courtroom one where an anonymous woman claims the rap mogul and his longtime friend, Diddy, ruined her life when she was barely a teenager. But that's just the opening argument.
And a federal judge has ruled the woman alleging she was raped by Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs can remain anonymous. The woman says both men raped her at a party when she was 13 years old. Jay-Z's legal team had fought to get the case dismissed, arguing his accuser should have to reveal her name, but the judge disagreed. ABC's Morgan Norwood has the latest.
A legal victory for the woman who is suing Jay-Z for allegedly raping her when she was 13. A federal judge ruling the woman can proceed with the case while remaining anonymous, at least for now. But the judge also chastising the lawyers representing Jay-Z, accusing them of trying to fast-track the judicial process by repeatedly filing motions to reveal the identity of the Jane Doe to have the case dismissed. The judge writing in a 5-page brief that the Carters' lawyers' relentless filing of combative motions containing inflammatory language and ad hominem attacks is inappropriate, a waste of judicial resources, and a tactic unlikely to benefit his client. The court will not fast-track the judicial process merely because the counsel demands it. This latest legal twist coming after the recently filed civil lawsuit by Jane Doe, claiming that Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, and P. Diddy, drugged and a 13-year-old girl at an after-party after the MTV Music Awards in 2000, while an unnamed celebrity watched. Jay-Z has vehemently denied all the allegations, putting out this statement 2 weeks ago, writing in part, "This is a blackmail attempt." The multi-platinum artist, who was 30 at the time, now a business mogul with decades of hits to his name, with songs like Run This Town.
We are, yeah, I said it, we are. This is Rock Nation, pledge your allegiance.
His attorneys have denied everything about Jane Doe's account and pointed to some alleged inconsistencies in her story.
It's not just that this story is a lie and that it's not true. It's provably, demonstrably false. This never happened.
The judge writing that while Jane Doe can remain anonymous for now, she may be required to reveal her identity at a later date to allow Jay-Z's lawyers to collect facts necessary to prepare for trial.
Oftentimes, when someone is accused of a crime like this, the accuser doesn't want to be named, and if they are forced to be named, we have seen certain people decide to drop the lawsuit altogether.
Morgan Norwood, thank you. And Tony Busby, the lawyer representing Jay-Z and Diddy's accusers, says in a statement to ABC News, quote, "I will say that the coordinated and desperate efforts to attack me as counsel for alleged victims are falling flat. We won't be bullied or intimidated." And we did reach out to Jay-Z and his team, but did not get a response.
Now, Jaguar Wright is a well-known whistleblower. She has predicted many of the crimes Diddy is charged with today. Now, as of recent, she had an interview with Piers Morgan, and she did say that Jay-Z and Beyonce were implicated with Diddy. Now, let me know your opinion on the things she's sharing about Jay-Z and Beyonce.
I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well.
She's referring to Jay-Z, Sean Carter.
They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim
Keeping people against their will, putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane, unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about.
So essentially what she's trying to say is that Jay-Z and Beyonce are doing or have done similar things that Diddy is being accused of.
Early April 2025, federal docket number 24, CV 5887 hit the Southern District of New York. The plaintiff, identified only as Jane Doe, alleges that after the 2000 MTV VMAs, a limousine whisked her to an after-party where she was drugged and assaulted by music titans Sean C. Sean C. She says she was 13. The initials left nothing to guess. Jay-Z's attorneys, led by Alex S.P. Rowe, the legal pit bull who defended Elon Musk's tweets, instantly moved to dismiss, calling the claim extortion dressed as empathy. Judge Annalisa Torres was unmoved. She allowed anonymity, slammed the defense for combative language, and set discovery deadlines that collide perfectly with Diddy's criminal calendar. Civil and criminal worlds rarely synchronize. This time they might share witnesses. Publicly, the Carters can't blast provably false tales. Privately, .risk consultants aren't so sure. The statute of limitations for civil battery in New York can restart when new evidence surfaces like video, emails, or flight logs. Homeland Security seized 30-plus hard drives from Diddy. If a single clip shows Jay in the same suite as the plaintiff, her burden of proof shifts from story to screen. Financial stakes are staggering. Punitive damages could hit 8 figures. Brands could yank endorsements. Streaming services could pause catalog placement. But the largest threat is intangible public perception. In the court of clout, innocence is a lesser headline than implication. Jay's resume reads mogul.father.philanthropist. Add defendant in child rape lawsuit. And algorithms autoplay the worst case scenario still. One lawsuit can fade if it feels isolated. What frightens the Carter brain trust is a different ghost. One buried 15 years ago, now resurrected on every gossip reel of the sudden. Silent, death of a woman named Kathy White, and her story refuses to stay buried.
There's just been a shocking revelation from federal authorities regarding a highly private and scandalous video involving none other than Jay-Z and Beyonce, reportedly taken during a wild party hosted by Diddy. Apparently during a Homeland Security raid on Diddy's properties, some rather intriguing discoveries were made, including compromising footage featuring numerous beloved celebrities caught in scandalous situations. Speculation is rife that Diddy intentionally leaked this footage to authorities as a form of revenge against the Carters, allegedly due to their perceived lack of support during his legal battles. It seems he's on a mission to embarrass them at any cost. Adding fuel to the fire, an unsettling audio clip allegedly featuring Meek Mill and Diddy has surfaced, courtesy of Diddy's former bodyguard.
Now, I bet you want to know why Jay-Z and Beyonce's name keep popping up around the whole Diddy thing. Well, that's why I'm here. Now, first thing you gotta know is when somebody like Diddy gets taken down, things always start out as a rumor. Diddy has had rumors floating around for like decades. Well, Jay-Z had a problem. He's right there in the corner, by the way. Jay-Z has had a few rumors himself, but more like speculation. People see Jay-Z in a picture of R. Kelly, they're like, I guess they both make music. Then Jay-Z with Harvey Weinstein. People are like, I guess they both do business. Then, of course, Jay-Z with Diddy. Now, hold on. Here's the thing. Jay-Z and Diddy go way back. Like back to the days when they were both coming up. So you could say they might just have a lot of respect for each other. But on the other hand, people are like, well, if you've known each other that long, Jay-Z, you must have known what Diddy was on. But Jay-Z has always had a history of keeping quiet, which brings us to Aaliyah. Now, I'm sure y'all remember R. Kelly dated Aaliyah when she literally needed her parents' permission slip to get married. Now, if I remember correctly, her parents got the permission slip and said, marry who? And that's how this whole thing got exposed. Now, a lot of people in the industry actually knew about this relationship because they would work with R. Kelly. They would be in the studio with R. Kelly. Now, according to Dame Dash, who listened closely, was Jay-Z's first business partner and also dated Aaliyah when she was 21. He said this is how it went. He said he didn't want anything to do with R. Kelly because everyone knew what type of timing R. Kelly was on. He looks over at Jay-Z and Jay-Z's out here creating collab albums with R. Kelly. But then he saw why. For starters, everyone had a crush on Aaliyah. People were waiting down the clock until she turned 18. But Jay-Z decided to get a head start. Now, there was absolutely no proof that Jay-Z went after Aaliyah, but people were like, let me see another picture.
Kathy White wasn't front page famous when she died in 2010. But she was beloved in industry backrooms, an up-and-coming publicist who could broker press for fledgling fitness gurus and persuade listers to try vegan juice cleanses. She was 28, pregnant according to two friends, and romantically linked, whispers say, to a megastar who visited her Midtown condo whenever he was in Manhattan. The night she died, NYPD ruled it an apparent seizure, autopsy undetermined. Friends cried foul she was fit, had no history of epilepsy, and her building's cameras allegedly malfunctioned between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. Reddit, sleuths ran wild. In 2014, a blogger posted that a rap billionaire paid hush money. Mainstream outlets ignored it until March 2025, when YouTube gossip channels claimed Diddy's seized vault contains texts proving Jay-Z ordered a hit. No evidence surfaced, yet the algorithm served 40 million views in 12 days. Conspiracy thrives on pattern recognition. Kathy White possessed 3 traits: rumor mills, love, she was young, pregnant, and allegedly about to sell her story. Factor in Diddy's legal freefall, and you get a ready-made thriller: blackmailtapes.pregnantmistress.billionairepuppetmasters.facts sparse engagement astronomical. And nothing amplifies speculation faster than a living accuser. With new details, enter Jaguar Wright.
It's a big week for Jay-Z. His Rock Nation is geared up to produce the most watched live performance of the year, the Super Bowl halftime show. And of course, he was there to cheer on his wife, who took home the coveted award of Album of the Year at this year's Grammys. So in light of all of that, he's also making a surprising move in his ongoing back and forth with Tony Buzbee. Now, at this point, we all know who the Texas-based attorney is. You know, the same one who said that he had more than 100 accusers ready to file lawsuits against Diddy.
After vetting, we now represent 120 individuals who intend to bring civil claims in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs, as well as claims against many other individuals and entities that we will name as defendants as we file these individual cases.
And of course, we know later that Jane Doe, who is being represented by the Texas attorney, filed a suit a couple weeks after this press conference accusing Diddy of raping her when she was just 13 years old. Then amended that complaint weeks later, adding Jay-Z, Sean Carter's name to that child rape lawsuit alongside Diddy.
Once a soul-quaking vocalist for The Roots, Jaguar Wright transformed into a digital age whistleblower airing industry sins on live streams with the fervor of a tent revival preacher. Some call her prophetic. She predicted party tapes years before Cassie's lawsuit verified their existence. Others call her chaotic. Her timelines shift. Her tone veers from survivor solidarity to profanity-laced rants. Piers Morgan believed the prophetic angle. In a late March segment, he asked Wright to explain why Jay-Z and Beyonce keep appearing in Diddy chatter. She didn't flinch. I have 3 victims ready to swear that Mr. Carter and his wife keep people against their will. Morgan's producers aired a teaser, then the lawyers descended. Within 24 hours, the clip vanished from official feeds, replaced by a cryptic note, segment temporarily removed pending editorial review. Censorship, libel risk. Either way, the takedown signaled fear that Wright might actually have cooperating witnesses, or fear that she could say something so explosive regulators would demand proof. Public silence from the Carters convinced fans there was something to hide. After all, if the accusations were pure fantasy, why not threaten a suit? Instead, their attorneys fired at Wright's hosting platforms, not Wright herself. Online, the Streisand effect kicked in. Mirrors of the interview popped up on fringe sites. Downloads spread via Telegram. Wright doubled down, vowing depositions within months. Are those victims real? Unknown. But the bigger danger isn't Wright's credibility, it's Diddy's potential cooperation. Because if he opens the vault, no NDA or ruthless cross-exam will bury the footage. Which brings us to the one chess move that could flip this scandal from wildfire to nuclear, a plea deal. And history says Diddy has no qualms letting others burn to save himself.
A female celebrity was also mentioned in that complaint as well. However, her identity has since remained a mystery. Since that happened, well, first, let me say both Sean Combs and Sean Carter have denied those accusations. Diddy's team said, quote, "In court, the truth will prevail, that Mr. Combs never sexually assaulted or trafficked anyone, man or woman, adult or minor." Meanwhile, Jay-Z made a scathing statement of denial, mainly targeting Tony Busby. He said in part, quote, "My lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir, it had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny." Now that statement went on to call Tony Busby a deplorable human, a man with no valor, and an ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. Now, while Diddy sits in a jail cell awaiting trial, by the way, pleaded not guilty to those charges, denies all the accusations made in the various lawsuits, Jay-Z and Tony Busby have been going back and forth with lots of motions filed, complaints filed, and accusations flying on both ends. The Jane Doe alleging she was raped by Diddy and Jay-Z went on NBC, where they pointed out consistencies in her account of what happened, including that her father picked her up after the alleged rape. Her father later told NBC he didn't recall that. She claimed she spoke to a celebrity there, but that celeb wasn't even in New York at that time. And photos showed Diddy and Jay-Z at different locations than the Jane Doe described. Now, that interview happened in mid-December. By the end of that month, Jay-Z sued Busby for defamation and extortion. Jay-Z's legal team has also been pushing for the Jane Doe to not hide under anonymity. And of course, Jay-Z's lawyers have been trying to get his name off that child rape lawsuit or just have it dismissed altogether. Now, a judge ruled that she can proceed anonymously for now, but scolded Jay-Z's attorneys for their combative motions and inflammatory language used against Tony Busby. Then in January, a legal petition was filed by a Texas man who is represented by Tony Busby, who also accused Jay-Z's lawyers of bribing people to sue Busby and his law firm. So a lot's happened. Now, in a surprising move, Jay-Z's lawyer Alex Spiro is seemingly softening up on Busby. In a letter to Judge Annalisa Torres, the same one who previously scolded him, Spiro wrote, quote, "Dear Judge Torres, we write on behalf of defendant Sean Carter to respectfully request that Mr. Carter's motion for sanctions."
Rewind to 1999, Club New York, gunshots, mayhem, rapper Shine takes the fall, Diddy walks with a not guilty verdict and a chart-topping album. Shine does a decade in prison. Later calls Diddy the epitome of a rat. Industry veterans never forgot. When federal agents cuffed Diddy this March, the collective first thought wasn't, is he guilty, but who will he sacrifice? Legal analysts note the leverage. Prosecutors seized devices rumored to show non-consensual acts, maybe minors. Certainly celebrities. Trafficking charges carry decades, but RICO law offers redemption points for cooperation. Flip early, point fingers, reduce. Diddy's lawyers deny he'd ever turn informant. They also tried to stall trial for more prep time, a common ploy, while clients weigh plea options. Judge said no. Clock now ticks louder. Rumor Pipeline claims prosecutors already drafted a Queen for a Day proffer letter granting limited use immunity for truths about celebrity participation, if he signs. Any name on those hard drives could hit a subpoena list. Producers, NBA champions, maybe even rap royalty. Jay-Z's presence at those freak-offs is documented in party photos. Presence alone isn't crime, but pair it with Jane Doe's narrative, and you have circumstantial thunder. Jay's camp counters that no amount of desperation will bend facts, yet behind closed doors. Crisis teams rehearse scenarios. What if footage shows contact with an underage attendee? What if audio captures him joking about then taboo age gaps? In brand warfare, perception often renders verdicts before jurors do. Beyonce's advisors see the same risk and their response is miles ahead. She isn't waiting to see if Diddy flips. She's already ring-fencing her future.
Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately. Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through our culture and our society for decades. It must stop until him and his cohorts are all held to account publicly and legally. The victims, they're not safe. I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things. That changes now, Sean. You have no choice. Everyone knows.
From the outside, Beyonce looks serene mother of 3, architect of a global dance music revival, unbothered queen in chrome horse regalia. Inside her boardroom, documents paint urgency. Over the past 9 months, Parkwood Entertainment established 4 shell corps in Wyoming state of bulletproof asset privacy. Attorneys updated a 2008 prenup to carve out legacy holdings tied solely to Beyoncé's intellectual property and children's trusts. Why Wyoming? Because judges there seldom pierce corporate veils, and jury pools skew business friendly. In a worst-case scenario, say Jay-Z faces criminal indictment, creditors or plaintiffs can't touch Parkwood's new ranch house HQ. Even their Houston childhood church donations now route through a fresh 501c3 listing Beyoncé Knowles as sole director. Her public brand echoes the paperwork. Campaigns emphasize maternal warmth, female autonomy, quiet strength. Notice the shift: fewer Jay cameos, virtually no joint interviews, subtle reversion to the mononym Beyoncé over Miss S. Carter. The message: I stand alone, and I stand clean. Behind the scenes, Bey's handlers maintain polite ties with Team Diddy as optics, not loyalty. If prosecutors demand deposition, she can claim professional acquaintance, not spousal entanglement. And if the Carter marriage combusts, she'll file in California, where sealed celebrity divorces keep asset splits under lock and gag order. Quick Dot Surgical brand safe, which leaves the myth, the legend of an unbreakable union that powered Black excellence for a generation. That myth is priceless to fans, retailers, nonprofits, even political allies. Yet myths crumble when one partner is fighting for freedom. So let's peel back the final veil. Was the Carter love story ever true romance, or was it always a boardroom contract?
Disgraced music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, once known for his lavish lifestyle and living large in his multi-million-dollar mansions, has a new home as he awaits trial in his federal sex trafficking case. Last week, the Bad Boy Founders defense team unsuccessfully fought to keep the music producer out of federal jail after his arrest. Now his new digs once housed other high-profile inmates, including R. Kelly, Fetty Wap, Sam Bankman-Fried, and Ghislaine Maxwell. Diddy is currently housed at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York, a stark difference from the glitz, glamour, and wealth in Hollywood and Star Island in Miami Beach, Florida. But MDC Brooklyn has been described as hell on earth, with horrifying conditions. The facility, which now houses Diddy, opened in the early 90s and is the only federal jail in New York City after the Bureau of Prisons closed its Metropolitan Correctional Center in 2021 after many issues came to light in the wake of Jeffrey Epstein's suicide just 2 years earlier.
Beyonce's own uncle once told a documentary crew that his niece wasn't that attracted to Jay at first. She liked the business mind. Maybe that comment was family shade. Maybe it was a crack in the facade. Either way, History supports the thesis. 2003, Crazy in Love drops. Jay owns Rockefeller Distribution Leverage, secures Prime Radio. 2008, they married days after inking a 50/50th Live Nation touring deal worth $150 million contingent on joint stadium dates. 2013, the elevator incident, Solange swings. Jay cowers. Bey stands stone-faced. Next week. On the Run Tour tickets surge, 2016-17's Lemonade exposes infidelity. 444 repents. Both albums sell millions. Streaming platforms crash. Tidal valuations soar. Pain repackaged as profit. Therapy sessions recycled as Grammy campaigns. Fans got catharsis. The Carters got richer. Love, maybe. Leverage. Undeniable. Now the contractual threads unravel. The Live Nation mega deal sunsets in 2025. Rock Nation Sports lost marquee NFL partners after Colin Kaepernick controversies. Ivy Park split from Adidas. The Empire's keystone is wiggling, and cracks spread fast when keystones shift. If divorce papers hit, they'll land sealed, citing irreconcilable differences. Custody. Private co-parenting plan assets. Already siloed. Beyonce will tour solo arenas. Jay will pivot to venture capital summits. And the nostalgic public will still stream 3, Bonnie and Clyde, but maybe with a cringe they never felt before. Yet the biggest variable isn't romance or royalties, it's risk. Should prosecutors link Jay to underage assault or trafficking conspiracy? Divorce becomes triage. Beyonce rebrands as survivor of proximity. Jay rewrites defense memos. Fans choose sides. And the blueprint for power couples shatters like tempered glass.
Now, Abby, that video that you just spoke about was a few months ago when our team broke this disturbing video of Diddy violently assaulting his ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, better known as the singer, her stage name, Cassie. Now, up until this point, when we broke this video, Diddy had denied the allegations against him. Cassie is one of 10 civil suits against Diddy, 9 of which he is accused directly of sexually assault. Up until that video, he denied everything. After that video came out, he changed his tone. He apologized for his conduct in that video. But I have to tell you, Abby, just as of last week, a former member of Danity Kane, which was one of the bands from Making the Band, Diddy's show that was on MTV, she sued him for sexual assault and other disturbing allegations, and he denied that. So he continues the denials, and he still maintains his innocence, even though he has been arrested tonight.
The people that are attached to Diddy and that are pulling the strings, one of them is Beyonce.
Oh yeah, I was gonna talk about that.
And one of them is Jay-Z. Very interesting. Anytime you watch the Grammys, every single woman artist, they always thank Beyonce.
yeah.
From Lady Gaga to Miley Cyrus,
Adele, Britney Spears.
Yeah. They all thank Beyonce. But why? So theory goes way back when Aaliyah, one of the biggest hip hop artists, she was on the rise at the same time as Beyonce. But
oh no.
Who was in power at the time?
Beyonce.
Obviously Jay-Z
Yeah.
and Beyonce. And as we know, Diddy, right?
Yeah.
Theory goes that they decided to take out Aaliyah because she was such a competition to Beyonce to be #1.
Damn.
And she really was. She was about to outshine her. Now check this out. There's another artist
Isn't
that
the
died.
one with the swoop? I
Yeah,
forgot her name.
Left Eye. This is what's crazy, right? Aaliyah, Left Eye, and Michael Jackson. All 3 of them, they died on the 25th day of the month. Aaliyah died on August 25th.
Okay.
Left Eye died.
Storm clouds are no longer on the horizon. They're rattling the stained glass windows. Diddy faces federal cross-examination. Jane Doe waits for her anonymous day in civil court. Jaguar Wright looms on live streams. Hard drives sit in evidence lockers humming with secrets. And in the grand foyer of music's once golden palace, Beyonce and Jay-Z stand on separate staircases, deciding whether to walk down together or exit through different doors. Maybe the love was real. Maybe the contract was king. What matters now is accountability, legal, moral, cultural. If the allegations prove true, fame won't shield guilt. If they're false, silence won't silence chatter. Either way, the curtain is rising on the most consequential act of their shared story. Stick with this channel, because jury selection for Diddy begins in days. Jane Doe's deposition clock is ticking, and every revelation drags new names into the light. Like share and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next domino. When the crown finally falls, you'll want front row seats.
Now, I bet you want to know why Jay-Z and Beyonce's name keep popping up around the whole Diddy thing. Well, that's why I'm here. Now, first thing you got to know is when somebody like Diddy gets taken down, things always start out as a rumor. Diddy has had rumors floating around for like decades. Well, Jay-Z had a problem. He's right there in the corner, by the way. Jay-Z has had a few rumors himself, but more like speculation. People see Jay-Z in a picture of R. Kelly. They're like, I guess they both make music. Then Jay-Z with Harvey Weinstein. People are like, I guess they both do business. Then, of course, Jay-Z with Diddy. Now, hold on. Here's the thing. Jay-Z and Diddy go way back. Like back to the days when they were both coming up. So you could say they might just have a lot of respect for each other. But on the other hand, people are like, well, if you've known each other that long, Jay-Z, you must have known what Diddy was on. But Jay-Z has always had a history of keeping quiet, which brings us to Aaliyah. Now, I'm sure y'all remember R. Kelly dated Aaliyah when she literally needed her parents' permission slip to get married. Now, if I remember correctly, her parents got the permission slip and said, marry who? And that's how this whole thing got exposed. Now, a lot of people in the industry actually knew about this relationship because they would work with R. Kelly. They would